Hey guys, coming to you from San Diego, California. I'm here for a Toyota event. I'll share more in the coming days here about the big event that they have going on. It's pretty exciting. But anyways, we're not here to talk about what I'm here in California for. I want to share what I just learned about the Lexus RX. Okay, so we're over at Best Car Web. They're one of the more reliable sources coming out of Japan about upcoming products. And today we're going to be talking about the new Lexus RX coming in 2022. It should be available around this time of the year, so late 2022. It'll be on the TNGA-K platform, which is the Highlander, the Avalon, rest in peace, the Camry, the Lexus NX, the Lexus ES. I could keep going. So there are a ton of different vehicles. I mean, the RAV4 is probably the best-selling vehicle on the K platform. They say the styling is going to be similar to the NX, go figure. I'm just expecting it to be a larger NX, and it should take cues from the Lexus LX a little bit as well. So that's not really a surprise. The Lexus LX's rear taillights look very similar to the Lexus NX's rear taillights, so expect the RX's, the 2023 model year RX, the redesigned, to be very similar with a light bar going across, just like the LX and NX. But what I found was funny is that they, in this article, were obsessing about the turning radius of the new RX, which is going to be 5.9 meters, which is not great. The current turning radius of the Lexus RX is not good anyways, but they're concerned because it doesn't work very well for the Japanese roads, and that is no exception here with the new Lexus RX. They're saying it's going to be slightly worse than the new NX, which is now at 5.8 meters. Not really anyone in America cares about turning radius. If you do, maybe you live in the inner city or something like that. Typically, markets that care about turning radius are going to be Europe and Asia. The RX's bread and butter is North America. It's the best-selling luxury crossover here in North America, and it has been for decades. They're hoping that the style will be a little bit more inspired by the LF1 Limitless concept that you see in front of you right now. I would say don't get your hopes up because the LF1 is not coming. I don't expect it to come in any shape or form. And if you see this sort of styling, it's probably going to be on the upcoming Lexus RZ 450e, the fully electric, battery electric vehicle. But I would expect that styling on the RZ maybe to take more from the LFZ electrified concept we got this past year. They're also saying it's going to use the same 14-inch screen and the new NX, which I would expect because it's going to be in the new Tundra, it'll be in the new NX, it'll be in the new RX, it'll be the newest Lexus interface. Gone is the touchpad, so you can rejoice, most of you out there who do not like the touchpad. They're worried about also the lack of physical knobs as well as switches for the climate control. And I expect that, like the NX, you're just going to have knobs to adjust the heat and cooling of the climate control. The rest of the climate control will be built into the touchscreen, which is a little bit different than the new LX. For example, the new LX has a wider 12-inch screen and it has more traditional controls, buttons for the climate control. Now for the most exciting parts, the powertrains. And unfortunately, we're not getting anything new here from the sounds of it. Could they bring an F-Sport performance in the future with a more electrified hybrid setup? Yes, but there's no talk of it right here. So instead of just going through this wall of text translated from Japanese, we'll go to my spreadsheet. And the new RX 350, more than likely V6 is gone. They're replacing it with this 2.4 liter turbo. Even in parts of America, they're switching over the V6 assembly lines to this new 2.4 liter turbo. So I'm like 99% sure that the V6 is probably gone and the Lexus RX replaced with a less powerful but more torquey 4-cylinder that in theory is more fuel efficient. We also have the new 8-speed all-wheel drive setup, so it's probably likely that we might not see another front-wheel drive RX here in the United States unless they decide to bring an RX 250. And the reason is the new NX 350 is only all-wheel drive here stateside. So more than likely, the new RX will no longer have a front-wheel drive only option here in the United States. Maybe in other markets, you guys get this 250 with just 203 horsepower and front wheel drive only. And there's a possibility that some of you might get a 350h hybrid that's front wheel drive only, but that I don't expect to come for North America. The V6 hybrid is also gone at this point too. The 450h, more than likely, rest in peace. Instead, if you want the 450h, you'll have to get a 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid, and it'll be the 450h Plus, exact same thing we hear and see on the Lexus NX 450h Plus, which is the exact same powertrain as the RAV4 Prime, which is not a bad thing. That's like one of the best powertrains in Toyota's lineup. It's just kind of hard to get your hands on a RAV4 Prime. 350h, it's going to be the same hybrid system that we see in the new Lexus NX. It'll be 239 horsepower. It'll have the same front electric motor from the RX 450h, but it's going to not be quite as potent as the 245 horsepower or so that we see in the Sienna or Highlander hybrids. It will not get a 300h. This is for the ES. I believe that's the only 300h going forward in the Lexus lineup, unless they beef up like the UX or something. Now the new 350h, even though it's down on power, 239 horsepower versus a 308 horsepower, it will get a lot better fuel economy than the hybrid, the V6 hybrid that we currently see on the RX. Maybe 5-6 more miles per gallon, but at the reduction of about 80 horsepower. So don't really know how to feel about that. Now there's also trademarks of a 500h, which there's no mention in this article about a 500h model. And maybe that's because Japan may or may not be getting it. I still believe this is coming to the US market at some point in time. It's going to take the 2.4 liter turbo, more than likely, with Toyota's hybrid or Lexus's hybrid system. And my speculation is that 275 horsepower is going to be boosted to 330 horsepower. So this is going to be the replacement in theory for the old V6 hybrid, the 450h. And torque could be as high as 360 pound-feet of torque, which is just kind of an estimate because Toyota really doesn't give us torque numbers on their hybrid systems unless it's the new iForce Max system, which is a totally different hybrid setup. So all-wheel drive only probably on the new RX. I don't expect us to be getting an RX 250 here stateside. I believe that will be probably the only front wheel drive model for a lot of markets out there. The rest of it, the 350 with the 2.4 liter turbo is going to be all-wheel drive. The 350h will be all-wheel drive for America. The 450h Plus, of course, is all-wheel drive. And then this 2.4 liter turbo hybrid, fingers crossed we get this. Maybe they call it an F-Sport Performance or something like that. But it'll give us up to around 330 horsepower. And that would be a good replacement for the V6 hybrid. It gives us more power, more efficiency, a little bit more complicated because you're slapping a turbo in the situation, but it would be an improvement in many, many ways over the V6 hybrid. Now, the article also mentions that they might fully electrify the RX. I think it would make sense, but I don't think Toyota would want to compromise on range. They would probably just give us a fully battery electric vehicle built on their ETNJ platform that would be dedicated for the RZ450E, which will probably have a 0 to 60 of around like 5.5 seconds with around 300 horsepower. They're saying that the RX will finally get a digital outer mirror introduced in the Lexus ES. Now, we're not going to get that here in America. It's not exactly legal to have digital mirrors unless you get the digital rear view mirror, which it will have that option like the new Lexus NX has. It's kind of adapted from many other Toyota products. It'll have a dimming panoramic roof that's similar to what we see on the Harrier, which I really, really like that panoramic roof. It's pretty darn cool. The Stargazer roof, I believe they call it. They also say it'll have fingerprint authentication like the Lexus LX. But they're calling this normal evolution or innovation. They're not calling this like a massive jump. And I'm not expecting a massive jump. I'm expecting it to be a larger and a nicer interiorly clad Lexus NX. It's going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider than Lexus NX, have roughly the same powertrains. Maybe it gets that 500h 2.4 liter turbo hybridized to give it something that the NX doesn't have already. But the interior technology will be just like the NX, I'm expecting. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier to get heated rear seats or something like that on the new RX compared to the NX. There will be a little bit more cargo room, of course, compared to the NX. Efficiency will be a little bit down, maybe 1 or 2 miles per gallon on the 350h, maybe down a little bit in terms of full electric range on the 450h plus. He'll be slightly bigger, slightly heavier than the NX. And then the 500h will be the range topper if it comes out. There's no reports coming out of Japan at this point in time about a 500h. Maybe they're not getting it over there, but there are trademarks for a 500h. And really, that's the only question mark at this time. That would be the only new thing probably that would be coming to the RX, because everything else on the new RX is essentially on the new NX that's coming out like right now. So hopefully also by this time next year that the whole supply chain issues are a little bit more ironed out, that there's better availability for all vehicles out there, not just Toyota and Lexus products. But being only about a year out from the Lexus RX being available, I think we pretty much have everything nailed down on it, other than just what it looks like in packaging and pricing and things like that and availability. I think we know what kind of equipment is going to be a given the Toyota and the Lexus lineup preceding the new RX, and we have a really good idea of the established powertrains for the Lexus NX that should carry over to the Lexus RX. So there shouldn't be a whole lot of surprises. I'm just expecting, like the Lexus NX is, just a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer interior compared to the NX, and it'll sell like hotcakes because it's already the best-selling luxury SUV out there, at least in North America. But anyways, guys, I'll see you down in the comments. What do you think? Catch you in the next video. If you enjoyed today's video, smash the like button, subscribe for more Lexus news updates as well as reviews. Stay tuned. Can't wait to give you more, especially about this event here in San Diego. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.